guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Big Sister. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday. Please try to bear with me. I'm doing a couple of things while I'm talking to you. So if you hear little sounds here and there, or you hear a lawnmower outside, I'm sorry. I wanted to talk with you all about institutionalized relationships, institutionalized promises, institutionalized claims of change. We gotta change. We want to talk about that. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about when I'm saying institutionalized, I'm talking about like people who are incarcerated and in prison. And a lot of times people, they get married to people who are in prison. They fall in love with that prison man or woman, the inmate that's in prison, and they get surprised when the person gets released and they change. Now, before I get started, I do want to say that there are people who are incarcerated and they were wrongfully charged. They don't belong in there. We see that has happened. Then you have people who they were rightfully charged. They did do the crime, but they actually did have a genuine change, okay, in themselves, in character, in morals, in thinking. This takes a lot of work. It is not something that merely is going to happen through just classes or just being in a detention center, being in prison, losing privileges. Those things are definitely the driving forces, but a change happens within the person. Okay, there are times that people can sit in prison and they simply just, that side of them that just goes dormant for a while because they have no place to act that stuff out really without consequence and not as easily, but they're not changed. It's just in hibernation, so to speak. But there are some, as I said, that hey, they really have paid their debt back to society. They have changed, they get out and they don't go back. Sometimes it takes that lockup to bring that change. And they're genuine and they go back out and they are just an asset to society. They don't get in any more trouble. So I want to say that from the start, because I know there's going to be someone that, despite the fact that I said this, they're still going to find, you said this, and I'm not going to respond because I already gave this disclaimer. This message is specifically for individuals who they are not changed. They give you an institutionalized apology. What does that mean? They are in lockup, lockdown, and they are just, that part of their nature that got them there in the first place is still there. It's still dormant. But while they are in prison, while they are there or in detention jail, they are just in a state where they learn how to survive. They learn what they need to do in order to maybe get paroled early, or to just give this impression that they're cooperative. But sometimes that person is not going to be able to do what they're doing because, number one, they're in prison with other men. Other men that's going to beat their behind. If they've been one that's been abusing children, or beating up on women, there's no women for them to beat up on. There are other men that's going to, stomp the life out of them, or whatever they do, or there's going to be a challenge. Even if there's a fight, they know it's a different type of experience than when you're actually fighting someone who's vulnerable or who's elderly. If they're a thief, there's not really much to steal. And then if they try to steal in there, there are going to be some consequences because you're stealing from another inmate who may have nothing to lose and have they will not think twice about taking your hand right off or really hurting these individuals. So sometimes when people are getting this image of a person that's changed and they've found God and they've done all these things, they are only seeing one side. And what they're seeing is the incarcerated person, a person who is in a controlled environment, who no longer has the access to the freedoms and the choices and just the autonomy that an everyday citizen has. Somebody may genuinely feel like they've changed, but it may be because they're in a controlled environment. The real test is going to happen once they are set free. Once they are out, no one is there to tell them what to do. They can go wherever they please. They can go to the ends of the earth all they want. They can get on a flight and go where they want to go. And yes, there may be parole, but they still have, it's up to them if they're going to follow the parole. And even with the parole, they still have some freedoms. Now they're breathing the air like everyone else. They can walk into stores where all the merchandises are out. They're sitting there. They can walk into a store. They can walk into places where there are women and children. They're going to meet people at churches and in the community. They're going to be on that jogging trail with someone right in front of them. Are they going to be able to just be on that jogging trail, do their walk, or is that side of them going to come out and say, hey, this is an opportunity that I can rob this man. This is an opportunity. Here's a little girl that I know normally rides her bike by herself on this road. Or is this person going to still be able to, have they learned, have they changed, have that impulsive side truly been absolved, that they no longer has a desire because now their conscience kicks in and their impulses are not. They have the reasoning and the judgment to say, no, that is a child. I will not hurt a child, and go back in their house and sleep and don't even think about it again. Or are they struggling with this desire, this insatiable desire that rises up? Are they going to reoffend? That is completely different. Oh, I don't drink anymore, I found God. Well, what happens when these individuals get out and they have access to all the stores that's selling the alcohol and all the alcohol in the store? They now have the money and opportunity to walk in, to either walk right by that those cases of beer or that one beer or their favorite, or if they're allowed to drink again, will they be able to just get that one drink? Or are they going to go right back to doing whatever they were doing, which is going to cause them to now get in their car? There is something completely different about freedom. You see, a lot of times people who have never been to prison before, who's never been to jail, you think that, well, isn't it just natural that people will know not to do that? No. Why does this person do this? Because there is something that has happened to that person. Okay, a lot of times some things may have taken place and their brain does not function the way that it should. The thing that can, they should be able to reason to say, I'm not going to do that, to refrain from, that is not there. They have the same impulse as a hyena or a rabid dog out in the wild, meaning they just prowl and they see what they want and they're gonna do it. The only thing is they have more intelligence than the rabid dog, because the rabid dog is just gonna do what it does. It's not trying to hide the evidence, but a human, that side of them that knows they're doing something wrong or they shouldn't, is always present, and then they fight it, or they just do it because they know, well, it is what it is and they can't help themselves. So what I'm saying is, when a person is in prison or in jail or incarcerated, you have to understand it is a big cage. It's like when you go to the zoo and you're looking at all the lions and the tigers, and you're looking at these animals that's in the zoo. I'm not calling these people animals, but they're in the zoo. We're standing on the other side with our popcorn and our ice cream and our drinks, like, oh, they're so cute. Oh, look at the lion, look at the giraffe, oh, look at that rhino, look at that seal, look at this, oh my gosh. Look at those lizards. But let that barrier lift up and see all the ice cream cones that'll be on the ground. See what will happen if that barrier raised up. I believe that lion, those lions, those tigers, those wild animals will probably be stunned at first, a little shocked. Did that thing really raise up? But guess what's going to happen? They're going to get out. Oh, we're really out. And what's in them is going to come out. So when there are people who are in prison, these people who are unchanged, that's what I'm talking about. They have not changed inside, in conscience and in conscience, conscience, mind, spirit, it is not changed. They change on the outside. Oh, I'm going to go take this class. I'm going to take that class because somebody's in there saying, look, you want to get out on parole, you want to get out, you got to take all the classes. And then what you got to do, get along with all the wardens, let the prison guards see you being cooperative and helpful. You've got to do this so that they can vouch for you when you're sitting in front of the parole board, or you can be this or that. There are people who are literally in there just doing what they need to do to get the support, the backing, the vouchers that they need to get out. But they're not changed. It's just that they're not in the environment to have the freedoms. The freedoms you and I have, any one of us can turn around and do wrong. What causes you not to go across the street and break into your neighbor's house? Their values and morals and beliefs in you. Some things you're like, no, you realize it's not worth doing that. What keeps you from getting something and going out and killing the person that aggravates you down the street? Oh, well, things like that could actually happen to anybody when they are deeply angered or something has happened so bad. There has to be an extreme situation that causes someone to snap and go that way. But for the most part, we know that there are ways to deal with conflict. You know, you walk into a store, you're not thinking of going, you're not looking for anyone to hurt. You're not looking for something to take. You go out to eat. You're not looking at who is drinking. Let me see who's drunk so I can take advantage of them, or who can I steal from? You don't think that way. But there are people who are like that. And so when we are free, we walk around, we are given freedom, which is a beautiful gift, to walk around on this planet, in your neighborhood, in your community, and do what you like all day, so long as you stay within the parameters of the law. But what happened? And look, anyone could err. You can speed, right? You know you're not supposed to speed and you're not paying attention, or you are, but oh, I gotta get somewhere, and you're doing a 40 and a 30. Yeah, you're gonna get stopped for that. But a lot of times after the tickets and stuff, most of us will be like, nah, that $75, $100 ticket or stand in front of a judge changes you. You learn from it and you stop. So what happens when these individuals, they get out, they have all this freedom, the institutionalized environment and that talky-walkie and oh, God is with me. Now it's going to be to the test when they get out. And if they were never changed to begin with, that stuff is going to come out. You trying to marry that man while he's in prison, you marrying that woman while she's in prison. And then they get out, you think you're going to be like, well, what time are you going to be home? Where are you going? That's not going to work. That's going to irritate them, because it's going to irritate them more than anything, because to them, it's going to feel like you're keeping a watch on them. When someone is out of prison, they want to be free. Sometimes, yes, they're going to be with you because they may like you, but they don't want you hounding them and bothering them. They have to adjust. They have to readjust to society. And what they don't want is you sitting there, hey, what's up? Come to bed. What are you doing? Where are you going? What's up? Where you at? Nope. They have to totally get reacclimated to life again. And a lot of times you get married, that person comes to you and they're not who they presented to you at the prison or while they were in prison. Why? Because they were behind bars. They were in a controlled environment. So they're going to behave differently. As a matter of fact, I believe that if they did CT scans or something of the human brain, the brain of a prisoner, I believe that there's certain parts of the brain that shuts down. It's not functioning. So they're going to think different. If there are 10 compartments, maybe only 3 are still active. Or they're operating on 3 because the other 7, let's just say, all right, I'm just giving the 10 compartments. The other 7 has gone dormant, or they're dormant, because you need to be out in society and among people and in freedom to be able to utilize these parts of the brain and operate as such. So they become different and they operate different, and you don't realize that they're really talking to you off of 3 cylinders versus 10. I'm just giving you an example. We know the brain is separated into all kinds of different sections in the front and the frontal lobe and the side and the amygdala. We're not doing that. I'm just trying to make it as basic as possible. It's not that they're stupid. It's not that they're dumb, but it's just that, in order for me to still be good at running, I have to run. If I haven't run in a long time, then my muscles, my legs are going to change. The muscles will sag. Things could atrophy. I'm not going to be as good. It's going to go dormant. If you don't do sit-ups, then you're going to get a muffin top. And if you're eating, you're lazy, you're just it's going to be different. If you don't sing as much, your voice is not, you're not going to have that range because that part of you is dormant. If you haven't played the guitar, you have the guitar, but you may find that yes, you can still play, but you are not as proficient, you're not as great, as quick with it. Those lyrics, those sounds are not coming out as much because you haven't played in a long time. So it's the same thing with someone who's been in prison for a while. There's certain aspects of their brains and how they function and they think that has been that's in prison too. So when they get out and they get reacclimated to life again, things are going to be, all these things are beginning to spark these part of the brain. Electrical impulses are going there and they're trying to figure out how to do this. And the real them comes out again. So what is my point? Action speaks louder than words. That's one. Don't marry somebody when they're in prison. Don't do it. When someone is telling you that, whether it's your child or someone you're in love with or whatever, you need to still, that person, their action remains to be seen. Don't be like, oh yeah, you could come into my house. Allow them to get out and see how they are in society. Because what can happen is when you open that door, you open yourself to something that's dangerous. A lot of times, as I said, the apologies are institutionalized. They know to say that because they're just like, they're in this jail cell all the time. And in this place, there's not a lot of windows. Everything is monitored. The way they're walking, talking, all of that, is it genuine? Is it coming from within? Or is it something that they need to say, or they may really feel that way because they are now housed in a place where they are limited. So is their reasoning and thinking and feeling. And while they're in there, they may feel like you are their everything because you do really feel that way to them. But when they get out in society where there are a bunch of other men and women and so much to feel and their senses are alive again, they wake up and they may realize you're not all that. What happens when that man or woman is actually really changed and they fall for you? And then they get out and they're trying to get their lives together, and they felt while they were in prison that this person, you were really it. And they get out and they just realize you're not, because they're out in society. The parts of their brain that's been in recession, if you want to call it that, begin to spark and wake up, and they begin to get reacclimated back to life and reintroduced to society and everything. And they start to realize that you're toxic. They're like, nah, I need to get away from this person. You may become the nightmare. These people may become the nightmare to that man or woman that's been in prison, that's really turning their lives around. But realize this person just had a thing because you were in prison, and they want a bad boy or a bad girl, but you're not that man or woman. That prisoner is not that person anymore. So my whole thing is, take that stuff with a grain of salt. Actions speak louder than words. When someone does something that they're not supposed to do, when they're in those situations, you have to be very careful, because a lot of times what you're hearing is the talk of someone that's behind bars. The real them is not out yet. Sometimes the person is not changed. It's just that that side of them cannot be, they cannot exercise that impulsive, wicked side of them, that insatiable side. It's gone dormant because there's nothing around them. There's nothing where they can behave in this manner without quick repercussions or anything that stimulates whatever it is that they want to do. There are no little kids around. There are no women here that I can overpower and overtake. There's nothing to steal without somebody caving my whole forehead in, because they're just as crazy as I am. There's no one to abuse. So, oh, I've been changed. No, there's just some men in there that will obliterate you. So, no, you're going to be on your best behavior because you don't fight men. These people don't fight men. They fight women. These women will behave a certain way because, well, I'm in prison. And they have that man who's so in love with them and they talking sweet and everything, but that her nature is dormant until she gets out. And she may very well, in these cases, the woman is going to go live with that man, okay, because she needs somewhere to stay sometimes. And once she get herself situated, you find out she has another boyfriend, another person over here, and she leaves you high and dry. Why? Because she was of this certain nature. It was just dormant. So you have to be careful. Don't fall in love with a prisoner. If they apologize, take it with a grain of salt and wait to see what they do in society. Actions speak louder than words. Some people are not changed. Some people who are in prison and they are improving, it is because that is where they belong. When they're in society, they do not make good decisions. They're impulsive. They can't help themselves. They keep getting in trouble with the law. You find they've been doing something since they were little, growing up. Yes, there may be something in your childhood, blah, 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 blah. All of that. Yes, it's terrible. It's bad, but you're an adult now and you're going to be held accountable for your actions. And guess what? If mommy and daddy didn't do what they need to do, the prison system's going to do it. They're going to hold you there. And yes, that person is thriving and is a wonderful person. But guess what? Sometimes that's where they belong, because this is the only place they can be where they're not a threat, where they thrive, where they're doing good, where they're growing, where they're focused. And it's a sad reality. Because as soon as they get out, poor judgment, poor decisions, impulsive, animalistic, predator, all the predatory instincts comes out, because their character, their morals, judgments, it's just amoral. It's gone. It's not there. And that's why in the old days, they used to just stone you. They'll get rid of you. Just get rid of the threat. You be in the gallows. You be under the guillotine. You be, getting crispy fried on a steak. Sometimes innocent people, they were put there because of whatever. Like for me, I have this gray streak in my hair, just one streak. Oh, in some places in the old days, I've been considered a witch and I would have been burned at the stake. Okay, so sometimes there were ridiculous reasons, but in terms of when somebody is just living foul, they didn't let those people live. There was nothing. They're gonna throw you in the ocean with a stone around your neck. So some people, guys, are not changed. They're just in disguise. They are being a chameleon. And for those who have changed and they have come out, congratulations. I think that is good. Some people, you know what, they're just on the wrong road. They're on the wrong path. And prison actually helped them. And they turned their lives around. All right, guys, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget that I am author of a book called Dear Bully, It's Me from the Grave. It is available on Amazon. And I go by the pen name Cordelia Roman. Bye.